Hi my lovelies, welcome back to my channel, and for everybody who is new, I'm Leorah and I'm so glad you found me. So if you think that Leorah looks different today, then you are absolutely right, because today we're going to do lashes together here on my channel. So that's why I'm not wearing falsies, and maybe if you've known me for quite some time, then you know that I really like to wear super big lashes and that I'm not very much into the natural look. Well, that is kind of obvious, but that is what we're doing. So that's why I look different, because now I just really have my natural lashes on with a little bit of mascara, but that is it. So we're going to talk first of all about all kinds of like general stuff about lashes, and then of course I'm going to show you how I apply them. Now you can find about a million tutorials on how to apply falsies, the do's and don'ts and all of that on all kinds of channels. Now I want to actually do something a tiny little bit different, because something with all these tutorials, while I find them very helpful and I'm glad that people are doing them, and I think there's also a very big need, I want to do something different a little bit. Okay, I want to bring a different nuance to the table, but for that, sweetie, if you're new here, I want to first of all introduce myself, because I'm Leorah. I'm a makeup artist and stylist. I'm living for colorful makeup and colorful styling, so feel free to check out my channel and of course my social media, which is linked in the description box down below. And please subscribe, because I would love to have you here, and I hope, really I hope that you will find this tutorial super helpful. Now, am I the best in doing tutorials? No. Am I the best in putting on lashes? No. And that is exactly what I want to bring to the table, because sweeties, this is the one thing that bugs me. To know there is actually another thing, and we're talking about that in just a second, but the biggest thing that bugs me about this whole topic is that wherever you go, on whichever channel, they will kind of tell you that it is super easy to put on the lashes. It's like plop and it's in place, and there's nothing easier than that. It's easier than putting on mascara. Now I want to tell you that I do struggle, not every day, but there are days like, you know, like you have a bad hair day once in a while, or I have a bad turban day once in a while. I also sometimes do have a bad falsies day once in a while, and sometimes I think like, what, am I doing this for the first time? Why is it so hard today? You know? And I want to tell you that it is okay, because for the longest time, I felt like I'm the only idiot out there who is watching so many tutorials and who is trying to learn this, and everybody tells me it is so easy, so why is it so hard for me? You know? So I have been doing falsies now for almost 5 years, and almost every day, and it's a basic part of my, or it's a very essential part of my makeup application. If I do makeup, I do lashes. There is no lash-free day for me. So I'm doing it all the time. I have a lot of experience, but I still want to tell you that it is okay to have those bad days. It happens, you know? So just saying, we are people, and it's part of life to be human. You do not need to feel like you have to be perfect in this, and that it is going to be perfect every single day, and with every single lash style, and with every single lash glue, and all of these things. So just play around and take the pressure out, because I think it's very toxic to sit here as an influencer and tell you that this is going to be super easy. Okay, it depends. Of course, it also depends a little bit on how you're motorically, you know, how you feel what you're doing in like very small movements and stuff like this. There is so much that one could talk about that influences this whole procedure, where I just feel like, how can anyone sit out there and tell me this is super easy? Makes me crazy. Okay, so that is that. Just really wanted to get this off my chest, because I want you to feel comfortable, and I want you to feel that you're normal and that it's okay. You know, it's okay to struggle. In everything in life, this is how it is. There is no smooth ride ever. And that is basically what I wanted to put out there. Okay, now with all of that being said, it can be done. Okay, it can be done, and it just depends a little bit on, first of all, your face shape, your eye shape, your space that you have here, your makeup style also, and of course like your preferences in what kind of a look you're going for. So there are all kinds of different lashes. Now I personally, I told you already, I love super big lashes. The longer the better, the spiky bulkier, the better. The more winged out, the better. That is my personal makeup style and preference, and that is why I'm also going to apply long lashes here on camera, while basically on a lot of other channels, or most other channels, you will get a tutorial with more natural looking lashes, and what they call glamorous is for me like, no thank you, this is too small for me. So that is just my personal preference. Just know that if you're applying smaller lashes, it will of course be way easier for you if you're a beginner, and also in general I think it will be easier because you do not have to work around the length. But in general, the overall picture, it is the same technique. Okay, just so you know. Okay, so let's just go into a couple of lashes because I just want to show you. Like for example, I got these here from Allure. I got them as a gift because one of you actually sent all kinds of lashes to me. I hope you can see it without the reflection of the ring light too much. One of you actually sent all kinds of lashes to me because she got all kinds of lashes, like big amounts of lashes in a subscription box, and she herself is not wearing lashes, so she was piling them up, and at some point she was like, Leorah, would you be interested? And I said yes, by all means, because even like these tiny ones here, these are 3/4 lashes, which I personally would never wear. I would never wear them. They're like so small, but I can use them for clients, and that is super nice, you know. So I'm keeping them, and also of course now to show you, because also here you can maybe hopefully see that there is basically a clear lash band, which is for some people, you know, that is exactly what they need. Now, I personally feel the clear lash band ones are too bendy for me. They're not comfortable. Besides that, they're not my style at all, but it's just not me, you know? I feel if I have a thicker lash band, I feel it's easier to apply. But I know a lot of people, and probably most people, feel the thinner the lash band is, the more comfortably they wear and the easier they are to apply. For me, it's different. But I also have to say, for example, that my makeup style is having a pretty dramatic liner. So for me, I can also easily wear those thicker lash bands because they just blend into my liners. Now, of course, I'm doing a lot of colorful liners, and then in that case, I have to work a little bit more precisely, obviously. But when you're wearing a black liner like this and you're applying black lashes, then they kind of like it all sort of melts into each other, you know? So this is like the tiniest thing that I own, and I will never personally use this on myself, but I'm keeping it for clients. Now, let me give you an example of something that is actually quite nice, and that is from Glamlight. This is winged out. This is from the Michaela collection that came out a couple of months ago, and this is actually a really nice example. For me, still kind of on the small side, but I think this is something that you see on other channels as very dramatic lashes. Now, just to compare them to something, I'm not going to use the ones that I've already worn, but I just want to take some that I have open here. This is, sorry, this is how mine would look compared to this. Do you see this? I don't know. I hope you do. Okay, so they are way longer, but just saying that this is a very like normal towards small size for me personally, but this is probably very dramatic for a lot of other people. So just saying, it all boils down to what you want and how you see yourself, you know. I'm just very dramatic, so what can I say? Okay, so that is that. Then I also have a nice example here from Peachy Queen. They came out at some point with a whole set like this, which can also be nice when you're still trying to find your own style. Of course, you also have a lash applicator here. Depends a little bit on what your preference is in that too, because also here some people are better with applying it with their fingers. Some need a tweezer, some have an applicator like this or prefer an applicator like this. And I'm going to tell you what I prefer in a second. But here you see different lash styles, of course, also. So for someone who maybe wants to try out a few things and first of all see what looks good and all of these things, then that could be something that you want to try. Also, what I personally really like, and these I ordered from AliExpress because I order my lashes from AliExpress and I'm not scared to admit it. I think they're great and they work just as well as the ones from Huda, you know, or from whoever. So let me just show you these as an example, because this is also something if you're more into like dramatic looks, which can look really nice, because maybe you can see that here on the inside they're like really thinned out, and that is such a cool look because it kind of super flares out towards the outside, and that is just really dramatic and kind of really what I like, you know. So let's just put them away because those I'm not going to put on today. Just gonna quickly clean up here. So first of all, I want to tell you, of course, that once you have found the style that you want to wear, you have to cut them down to size. Now, this is the other thing that keeps bugging me super much, what people tell you in every single video. What do they tell you? Never cut the inside of your lashes. You know, the side that will be closest to your nose. Drives me nuts, because who cares? Like, who cares? You know, because for my preference, let us just take an example of this lash here, you know? So if this lash, let's just say that it is this much too long and I would have to cut it like about here, then I would end up having a very undramatic lash. Now, is that my style? No. If anything, I would want to cut it here at the inside, so I'm left with the more dramatic part of the lash, you know? So I want to tell you, do whatever pleases you. Do whatever pleases you. Like, really, you know, because the only explanation why people tell you not to cut it from the inside is that it should look more natural. And do I care that my falsies look natural? No. If it is your goal to look natural but better, then by all means cut them on the outside. If you want to be more dramatic, cut them on the inside. Like, who cares? It's not like rocket science, okay? So now, of course, it depends also when you have a style like this, for example, that has the longest part here at the center of the lash. Then if you cut something, you might want to cut a little bit off of both sides, a little bit from the inside and a little bit from the outside. So it will be still even, and the longest part will still be in the middle, because if you only cut from the outside, then you're ending up with a lopsided kind of a look, you know? So you kind of have to take all of these things that are always being set into perspective of what we're talking about and what your own style is and what you want to achieve in your look. Okay, now I'm not going to use those either. I'm going to use, where did I put them? These here. These are also from AliExpress, and let's just get going. Okay, I'm also going to zoom you in just a second. I just want to take them out and show them to you. So this is how they look. This is how they look. And now, of course, I'm going to take a tweezer. Sweeties, now it depends again what your preference is. Some people pull them off with their hands, which you can do, but I think it is more likely to break the lashes if you're pulling them off with your hands. But I would suggest to just go in with your tweezer. Start from the outside of the lash, because just in case you're damaging them, the risk of it being seen then on the lash when it is on the outside is much lower than in the inside. Okay, so I'm just going to like pull it off like this. Okay, so there you go. This is what the lash looks like now. And now I'm going to zoom you in, I hope. Now, I have never really filmed like this, so I hope that that this is going to go well, and I'm going to still be in the frame and focused and all of this. So this is now the biggest, like the length of the lashes. Okay, so now I'm going to just put it on and see how it looks. Now, this is too long. It is a little bit too long for me, because when you curve it down and it kind of curves around your eyeball, even if you line it up nicely here in the middle towards your nose, it will extend too much to the outside here, and then once the lash is on, it'll kind of give you the droop down look. So going for a little bit too short is always the preferable thing. Now, if they're super short, it kind of looks silly. So just, you know, just check a little bit longer and double check and triple check till you find the right length for you. Now, what I also can recommend is, once you have found the lash that works best for you and you have established what your length is, just take a ruler and measure it, and then you'll know for the next lash, you know, because that is how easy it can be, you know. So this one I definitely will have to cut a tiny little bit, not like super much, because I don't have very small eyes, but that is what it is. Now, what am I going to do is I'm going to cut it from the inside, because of course the inside is already very dramatic, but I want the outside, you know. So that is it, you know. I hope that all of these YouTubers who tell you to never ever cut from the inside, they come and sue me. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut off a little bit. You can always cut off more, so don't cut off too much, and then just try again and see how it goes, okay? Also, I'm kind of going to wiggle it a little bit like this, just so I'm getting a better curve, because that gives me a truer picture of what is really going on if this is my size. So I would say I could theoretically cut off a tiny little bit more. I could also go for this, honestly, but I'm going to cut off a tiny little bit more, because also you do not want to measure till like the tear ducts, like in the very inner corner, because if you go in the very inner corner, the risk of your eyes tearing is going to be much higher, especially when you're sensitive to it. Now, I'm not sensitive to anything, so I'm kind of like the war horse in battle, that is like everything is okay with me. I have no allergies, I have no nothing really, and I am not sensitive to anything, you know? Yeah, so this is basically how this is gonna look. Of course, you see what it does to the overall look when you see it like this, right? It is super dramatic, and this is what I like. Okay, sweeties, now I'm going to go quickly off camera and cut down the other lash, and then I'll be right back and we'll continue with the tutorial. Okay, sweeties, here we are. Now I have cut both of the lashes to size. Now, what do you have to do before you start out? Of course, if you wear a liner, that is going to be great, because it's going to make it much easier for you. You can also, of course, wear a thinner liner. That's totally fine. It's just that I do have a lot of space, and I kind of can afford to have a very dramatic liner. But no matter if you have a liner or not, what you start out with is curling your lashes with a lash curler. Now, I have done that already, but I'm going to show you in any case how I do it. So you basically just put it on like this, and then you squeeze and you hold it a little bit, and you kind of, you know, give it a couple of squeezes, okay? And then sometimes I go even out a tiny little bit more and give it another squeeze or two, okay? And then you apply your mascara. Why is that so important? First of all, you do not want to apply excessive amounts of mascara on your falsies, because it will reduce the lifespan of the lashes. And even those lashes from AliExpress, for example, the ones that I'm wearing today, even those you can wear many times. Just don't get them extra dirty, you know, because it's not really necessary. The most important thing is to put the mascara on your own lashes, first of all, because then they will hold the curl much better. And also, especially now when you're wearing falsies like this that are also kind of a little bit heavier. It's not really heavy, but compared to like super tiny natural lashes, they will hold, your lashes will hold this better in place while you're applying them when mascara is on your own lashes. When I forget, if I ever forget to put on mascara, I will have the experience that once I put my falsies on, they just go like bloop, because my natural lashes, they bend and just let it fall, you know? So that is why, of course, I'm putting on the mascara beforehand. Now, what am I using, or what are my tools that I'm using for applying lashes? Well, first of all, the lashes. Then I do have a lash applicator. Where is this one from? Was this from Ulta? This is one from Ulta that I got as a gift from one of my besties. So this is just a normal, I should do it like this because otherwise the focus is not going to focus in on this. And then I also have a very normal tweezer. Okay, with these, of course, you have to be a little bit more careful because they are sharp, and you have to be careful to not poke this into your eyeball. Okay, I'm kind of a little bit worried about me doing that, well, because usually I'm not talking and not moving while I'm applying my lashes that much, but I'm going to try my best. Now, what you don't necessarily need, but what is super helpful, is one of these tiny little lash stands where you put your lashes in while the lash glue dries. I find this so cool. Where did I get this from? I don't remember. I got it from one of my besties. I just don't know where she bought this for me. It's dirty, but in any case. So that is what I personally really like. Of course, you don't need it, but it's super helpful to have a place where you're putting, I'm going to show you, where you're putting your lashes in like this while they're drying, you know, because you don't really want the lash glue to be touched by anything else before you're putting it on. And then I personally really like to have my table mirror that I have here opposite me, and also a handheld mirror, because that is just, it gives me different angles to look at myself. So that is also really, really helpful. All right, sweeties, let's go and talk about the lash glue, because usually when I'm wearing a black liner, kind of makes sense to also use a black lash glue, and I really do like that. But for today's purpose, I'm going to use a white one because it just shows you better, because it shows up better. Okay, so that's why I'm going to use a white one. Now, I can recommend all kinds of lash glues. Honestly, I really like the one from Ardell. I used to also like the one from Duo a lot, the white one that dries down clear, of course, because it doesn't stay white. But I think this one is so much easier to take out of the lashes. So it's not really for me how it applies and how strong it applies and all of these things. For me, it is more important because I don't think there's a super big difference for me personally, but I feel a difference in how I can take out the old lash glue afterwards when I'm cleaning the lashes. And I think this one from Ardell is actually super, super cool. Okay, now to apply the lash glue, you can go in all kinds of different ways. I've seen people to apply the lash glue, first of all, to a piece of paper or something, and then apply it from there to get a smoother result. Because when you're squeezing it out of a squeezy tube like this, sometimes, especially when the tube is already quite empty, you get bubbles on top, and you know what, I'm going to zoom you out for this part because that's going to make it easier for me. Okay, so in any case, I usually apply it like this, and sometimes I have a bit of heartbreak because sometimes really it comes out in a big blurb and then you're kind of stuck with, I don't know. And now right now nothing is coming out. Isn't that great? There you go. You see, now a big blurb came out, which is not good. So I'm just going to like use that same lash glue that is already on and just apply it along the whole lash. Now here again, I hear so many different things. A lot of people say use a tiny amount, but those are then also the people who tell you that they have to take lash glue along in their handbag because their lashes loosen, you know. So I don't know. I do always apply a bigger amount because I never have problems with my lashes coming off during the day, I have to say. So this is, wait, I'm going to show you. This is how much I'm putting on. Now, if someone else who has a YouTube channel sees this, they will probably say, you're crazy. Am I? No, it works for me. But again, I also have a lot of space here, and I'm wearing eyeliners where basically everything blends into each other. If you are not wearing eyeliners at all, maybe you want to be a little bit more precise, and maybe, yes, you want to use less because it just makes sense for you. So you will have to kind of find out for yourself what you want to do. Also, the other thing is that when people tell you I'm waiting 10 seconds for this to become tacky or 30 seconds for this to become tacky, I'm going to tell you I probably wait more than a minute because I'm using more. Again, also these times that are given to you, you cannot take them like word for word because it might not apply to you because maybe you're using more lash glue or you're using less lash glue. Okay, so that's why just always take into consideration that this is all a very, very personal thing for the person who is doing the tutorial. Okay, so how do you know when this whole thing is becoming tacky? Basically, when the white lash glue turns into a bit of a more sheer yellowish kind of a color, then it is basically the best time to apply the lashes. Beforehand, if I would put it on now, it would slide around, it would be a disaster zone, you know? And that is also something that I always did wrong for the longest time, even though I knew you have to wait, but I was listening to the tutorials and they told me I have to wait 30 seconds. But for my case, it was way too short. Should have waited longer. Just telling you from experience that sometimes, you know, you kind of have to listen to yourself and to like think for yourself, even though you're following the basic steps of a tutorial. You know, you have to kind of custom make it to you. Okay, so I'm going to just apply the lash glue and then I'm putting it into this little lash stand so it can sit here and wait. Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to apply the lash glue to the second lash and then we'll see what happens. Okay, so let's see if we can be a little bit more professional this time around, because of course last time I had this big splurge coming out. This time it's already much, much better. So, but again, I like to apply more lash glue because it just makes sense for me and I kind of feel like I need it. Also, a lot of people apply more lash glue at the inner and the outer corner. I kind of don't do that. I do like whatever pleases me, you know? So you can do that if you are prone to watering on your eye. Maybe you want to also apply more at the inner corner or whatever, but you'll figure it out. Whatever your needs are, those have to be met, not mine. All right, so in any case, this is how it looks now. I'm gonna show you again. I think I even put more lash glue on this one than on the first one. But in any case, this is how it looks, and I'm going to put this down so it can stand here. Now also you need to consider that if you do colorful liners, don't use black lash glue, because of course it will dry down dark, and then if you're not like a super correct and exact worker, it will show. So every time I'm doing a liner that is not black, or that is maybe with glitter or with any other color, obviously, then I'm using one that dries down clear. Okay, so let us look at the first lash and see how this is going. Okay, so this is already looking a little bit like it could be ready soon. But you see, I have not cut out anything really here time-wise. So you see, I'm waiting already quite some time, and that's just how it is. So let me just zoom you in the meantime. And you can in the meantime comment and tell me if you're finding this helpful, because really I kind of want to know. Okay, so I'm going to put this lash into my applicator, and I personally use the applicator only for this stage. After placing it, I will use my tweezers. Okay, so I'm also of course looking in the mirror that I have here in front of me, which is like looking down a tiny little bit, and then I also have my handheld mirror. All right, so let's see how we can do this. All right, so again, don't freak out. It is a process that you have to go through if you want to apply lashes, but don't get nervous and don't get stressed out, because if you panic, it's not going to help you. Okay, it's just lashes, like really. Okay, so I'm going to try to stay in the frame, because I'm kind of also, I like to wait. Maybe I'll move you out a little bit, because if I tilt up my head, so I'm still in the frame of the camera. Okay, so I'm tilting up my head a little bit, but I'm looking down, like along my nose, basically, into my handheld mirror. And then I'm placing the lashes from the top down, like this. And I'm placing them kind of in the middle, what I feel is about the middle of my eye, you know? And then I'm going to place, I always put down the outer corner first, just for the sake of, so it is somewhere. This sounds so professional, doesn't it? It all boils down to your preference, of course. But if you have cut down your lashes to your liking and to your size, then you will, I think, find it very easy to do the outer corner first. So now I'm basically I switched to my tweezer, obviously, and I'm pressing down the inner corner. And then I'm kind of going back to the outer corner. I hope I'm in focus. Am I in focus? And I'm straightening out everything. So you can see that the lash glue will still allow you to work it out a little bit. Okay, of course, if you have waited too long, then it will glue on and it will be tight and you won't be able to do anything anymore. But now I'm basically just going to push it into place like this. And that is what it is. Okay, so I think also lengthwise it kind of has the right length and the right curl and everything. So I think we did really well here. So that is what it is. Okay, I think you can also see now that there is some lash glue, of course, squeezing out, because of course I'm using more. But that is okay, because it's going to go away, you know? So I think it's time to put on the second one. And again, I'm going to kind of curl it a little bit like this, because it just really helps. And the thing is also that when you ask people, you know, also if you have clients or something like this and you ask them after you applied the falsies, does it feel weird? Does it pull anywhere? Does it tug anywhere? The thing is, they're probably going to tell you this feels weird. I kind of can see the lashes and stuff. Well, it depends on which size you're putting on, but that is normal. You know, your brain kind of adjusts to it after a while, but it is normal that you can feel the lashes. All right. Now it should not hurt and it should not pull. Usually when it pulls, let me just put this one on. Okay. So again, I'm going to look down my nose, not at you, at the mirror, and I'm going to apply it like from the top down like this. And I hope this you can see this. Something like that. Okay. Now, maybe you also just saw that basically my applicator kind of pulled the lashes out of place again, because apparently there was a tiny little bit of lash glue here, which then pulled the lashes away. Happens, you know, and I think it's very, very good that this happens within a tutorial, because like this, you know, that it happens and it happens to me too, and it is okay. We shall all live. All right. So now I'm just kind of pulling it into a place where I actually want to have it. And I want to get it, of course, close to my own natural lash line, but so it doesn't sit on my lashes, on my actual lashes, but of course on the skin right above my natural lashes. That is, of course, the goal. All right, but there you can see that this is how they look and this is how they sit. And I'm kind of just pressing them together now. Again, you can use a tweezer like this. A lot of people you see who go like this with their fingers. I'm just not very comfortable to do it with my fingers like that. So I'm just using my tweezer. But again, I'm very, very careful and I'm not getting super close to my eyeball. All right, so something like that. This is how it is gonna look. Okay, sweeties, now what is left to do, and this is also something that kind of borderline drives me nuts a lot of times, is that even with bigger influencers, sometimes you see they look super nice and makeup is much better than mine, but when they blink, you see that there is a line of dried lash glue. Or you see it is not one smooth look. Now what you have to do, it is kind of obvious, you have to reline your eyes, because of course you want to cover up the lash glue, and even if it dries down clear, it will still have maybe a little bit of a sheen to it or something where it dried, which means that especially if you're using a matte gel liner like I do, you will then have those splotches where it's shiny suddenly, and it will not give you a nice overall look. So I'm kind of just relining my eyes then. For that I have to move my mirror a little bit closer because I'm a bit short-sighted. So that is what I'm doing, and for that I'm going to take a small brush, a much smaller brush than I usually use for doing my liner. This one is almost empty. It's from Inglot. They're gel eyeliners. They're my most favorite as of right now. And taking a good amount of it, of course, because I do broad liners, so that is okay. And I'm just kind of holding my lashes down and I'm relining my eyes and I'm going over this area. Now the thing is, of course, if you do a broad liner, then you can be like super relaxed about it. If you wear smaller lashes, it's going to be easier, of course, but it's also not a big deal if you wear bigger lashes. But of course, if you do thinner liners, then you have to be a little bit more precise about it. But in any case, so that is what I'm doing. I'm just kind of going over this whole area so it all blends into one smooth thing, you know? So then at the end of the day, nobody will be able to see anymore where they're connected. Of course, everybody knows that these are not my real lashes. I'm not wearing lashes in order to pretend kinda that this is my natural look, because nothing about me is a natural look, right? And I know that, and I'm completely fine with that. I don't care, really, but I want it to look professional, and I don't want to have any kind of separation line when it comes to, of course, the liner area there, you know? So I'm just going to go in with my tweezer again, and I'm just checking on my lash here, because of course I applied that much later. So it is probably still a little bit too early to apply or reapply the liner here, but soon. you know? So let's just do it because you all have stuff to do, right? So in any case, this is basically my tutorial for doing lashes. And again, I want to just encourage you to try it. Of course, try it. If you're doing it for the first time, please use smaller lashes because it's going to be so much easier for you. But in any case, I want to encourage you to just find your thing. And again, don't just follow the tutorial in the sense of I have to do it one-on-one like this. You know, the thing with the tutorials is like, for example, you're using a navigator, okay, when you're driving, and you want to go, let's say from, I don't know, from New York to, what is there, Washington, okay? But the navigator tells you to go and take a detour over Los Angeles. You know, does that make sense? No. But will you follow that lead because it tells you to go from New York to Washington via Los Angeles? No, you will not. You use your own brain and you tell yourself there is a shorter way, there is a better way for me, you know? So that is what I'm trying to tell you with this tutorial. Just do what makes sense for you and just use the tutorials that you see on any platform as a crutch. You know, don't use it as the thing, use it as a crutch so it'll help you to get on your own way. That is basically what I want to say. So now, of course, if you want, you can still apply more mascara or whatever. I don't really do that. I'm just going to do it for the tutorial purpose because that is what it is. And I'm really just using it to kind of put it on my own lashes that are basically invisible now under the big falsies. I'm not really, as you see, I'm not dragging it out and putting it really on the falsies themselves. I'm just using it under, like really under my own lashes. But in my case, it's not really necessary. I don't think that it really matters in my case, but if you're going for a more natural look, you might definitely want to do that. Of course, here you can, for example, see still that there is still some white separation here, which is because the glue hasn't dried down 100% yet. That will, of course, still disappear. It'll take some time. Of course, also consider that I'm using more lash glue, so it takes more time for it to disappear. But that is basically it, you know? So I hope you found this helpful. Let me zoom you out so I can properly say goodbye to you. So this is, of course, the overall look. I hope you did enjoy this, and again, please let me know if you found this helpful, because I have been asked so many times to do a tutorial on lashes, and I kind of felt like I still want to be me about this because I don't want to just copy and paste what everybody else is doing. While they are not wrong, they are not wrong, you know, they just have their own styles and everything, but I want to still like do my thing, you know? I still want to do my thing and give you my 2 cents worth. And I hope, really, I truly hope that it was helpful. And again, you can of course downsize this and whatever and use your own thing that you want to do and look your way. You know, that's completely fine. Okay, sweetie, that is that. If you want to know what is of course on my face, then check out my description box. It will all be listed there. Beyond that, of course, all my links to social media are there, ways to support my channel, and of course all my discount codes that I do have with the different brands. Beyond that, again, leave me your comments. Let me know how you found this and if there is anything else you would like me to do tutorials on here and there. I'm not the biggest tutorial person, but if there is a need for something, I would definitely consider it. Beyond that, don't forget to subscribe. I would love to have you here as part of my growing tribe, and I shall see you here super soon for my next video. And up until then, definitely go ahead and sparkle. Hugs and kisses. Bye.